Decorating Pages is a podcast dedicated to taking you behind the scenes of the designs of your favorite TV shows and films. Each episode, I'll be sharing design stories from some of Hollywood's most famous sets. Interviews from set decorators, production designers, directors, and actors about creating the look of TV and film, about their design inspirations, and stories that take sets from page to screen. Hello, and welcome to Decorating Pages. I'm your host, Kim Wanup. I'm going on vacation this week. So I'm recording this a little early, but hitting the desert, hitting Palm Springs. It really is one of the great things about living in Los Angeles, that you're like 2 hours from Santa Barbara and the mountains and the desert, and you could hit the border. It's California is such a beautiful state, so I always feel very lucky of the options that are drivable, especially with kids in Los Angeles. I'm hoping to hit some mid-century houses or some shops out there. They have such a wonderful vibe. It's like a cluster and these time capsules of mid-century, this beautiful architecture, and I just love it out there. I think it's the heat that people just don't want to change from that vibe. I mean, there is some modern pieces, don't get me wrong, but I just love that feeling, and I always feel relaxed out there, and it's so quiet at night. So, hoping to have a good time. Relax a little before I get back to not working, some of that. Only started one new thing this week. I did finally get to start The First Lady on Showtime. Check out the blog post I'll put up this week, the pictures that I shared on Instagram about the Emmy for your consideration that they had, where they took a hotel room and they brought props and set dressing and graphics from the show, and everyone could walk through. So it was fun. I already talked about that, but I was a little disappointed at first that the three stories of Eleanor Roosevelt, Michelle Obama, and Betty Ford are intertwined. But then by the third episode, I get it. I like it. Here's the thing. I find Viola Davis's mouth so distracting trying to do this Michelle Obama impersonation or whatever she's trying to do. And I love her. I think she's a phenomenal actress. I don't understand why she's trying so hard to get this mouth right. They should have just given her some different teeth or something. I mean, the younger version of Michelle doesn't have it. I don't know. It's super distracting to me. So I can't take my eyes off of it. But the third episode's great because it's all the younger people, the younger versions of everyone. Loving the time periods that they show, seeing the White House in different eras, and the stories. I don't know these background stories of these particular women, so I would say it's definitely worth checking out. The sets are phenomenal. The attention to detail in these sets is really great. The drapery in the White House I'm always in love with, and again, so many different time periods. I just went back and looked about on IMDb, and I think they added another decorator to that. There's like 5 decorators on there, which I'm sure needed it because it looks like a lot. So bravo to all of them. Yeah. This is part 2 of my interview with director of photography Simon Dennis. We deep dive into some dorking out about our love for the film The Conversation. He talks about shooting Peaky Blinders and the super cool setup that he has on set to adjust color and bring references, and his little video village is an awesome setup. I hope you caught last week's episode. We talked about how he got into being a DP. He didn't know who Ryan Murphy was and then wound up working 5 straight years with him. And then we talk about American Crime Story Impeachment, which is what him and I worked on, and more. So I hope you enjoy. I did want to ask, though, when you take over show as a DP is that, because I know my little rules as taking over a show as a decorator, like, does that hinder you? Because you have to shoot in this style, or you have to, you're not...
Well, I'm going to answer this in a different way because I'm just like basically trying not to get fired. So when I came to America, I didn't argue with anything that was pre-constructed and pre-lit. I trusted Nelson. I met Nelson, and he was like, "This is how I work.
Yeah.
I tend to use very little lights. But listen, when you start, just do your thing." He was so like helpful,
Wow.
and so that was like lovely. So I just didn't complain. I didn't mind the takeover. And then, of course, I did, because I did Versace and Pose and The Politician with all of those shows, Nelson headlining and then handing it over. And again, he was like, just do what you want. Just do you, he said, do you. And I was like, okay, great. So, and there wasn't even like checking in on me. They were just like, just tell the story. And I mean, obviously you don't,
but they're not checking in on you because you're good.
no,
I mean, you
yeah,
have
I
to
know.
take...
But like the thing is, it's like they don't. There's as long as you can't really veer. I mean, it's very hard to mess up a Brian Murphy show, right? And I said earlier, like all of his sets are so beautiful. So really, your choices are on getting a handover is really about the right place to put a camera and the right lens and what have you to expose the story. But but if this was a different world where I was in England and I was like, oh my god, I've got to do season 3 of this show, I'd probably be quite unhappy. Whereas on this journey in America, I was just like, I just didn't want to get fired. I didn't want to go home. I wanted to sort of, I know I keep saying this, but it's true. But at least it keeps you grounded, right? I mean, at least
yeah.
like a complete tyrannical, like egomaniac.
I mean, I still think like that. I'm like, oh yeah, the Triceratops. Yeah, we'll totally get that. And then I'm like, Triceratops? What is that? What are we doing?
Like, what you have to understand with the film industry is it's littered with everybody. I mean, William Goldman says nobody knows nothing, right? Literally everyone's Googling everything.
Everyone.
Right? Even people that are pitching a show are Googling what they're talking about. Because they like, and I think that's a comfort,
Yeah.
But, no, I don't mind. I mean, my journey on these shows were like amazing because it was literally like he would hand me the baton, I would just run with it. And you do run on Ryan shows.
Yes.
You have to run really
Marathons.
fast on set, and you have to like work super fast. But yeah, no, I loved it. And then eventually, of course, so it was Pose, Versace, Pose, Politician. And then Ratched was like the same thing, but that was like building towards a bigger canvas and a different canvas that then led Ryan to say, can Simon shoot Hollywood from scratch, like all the way?
Right.
Which then led to Impeachment. So I basically kept quiet. I put my head down. I worked really hard, and I went home every night. I didn't go to the restaurant with crew. I didn't go partying with anybody. I didn't go with execs. I just wanted to keep...
That's good. It's mysterious. You're mysterious.
Yeah, but it's like you can't...
You can't shit where you eat either.
You can't get fired for that shit. You're like, it's like, I know I keep saying getting fired, but like people do get fired, right? They
yeah.
Bad jobs.
Yeah.
But I kind of knew that I was learning really. I was learning so fast. Like I'd never really been on a soundstage that big. I mean, Peaky Blinders was not. You have to understand, like Peaky Blinders was probably the budget of the entire 6 episodes of Peaky Blinders would be probably the budget of one Ryan Murphy pilot.
Really? It looks so vast. It looks so expensive.
Yeah,
it looks so good.
That's what we do.
Yes.
We work 14-hour days, 6-day weeks. Well, here's the thing. On Peaky Blinders, I remember Grant, the designer, he was like Napoleon. I don't think I called him Napoleon, but he was one.
He had his hand in his pocket.
Hand in his lapel, but he'd probably find that funny. But Grant was what the other the thing with Peaky Blinders was, if he was given a budget which was nothing compared to honestly what you guys were handed, like nothing, like it's short change, he would ignore that budget and he would build the entire set that he wants to set, and he'd go over budget. But we'd already shot some scenes by then, and they'd seen the dailies, and they're like, "Oh, okay, all right, we'll work it out. We'll save." The thing is, with TV shows in England, it's not necessarily finding more money; they just move money around.
Right.
So they will it around, and then they maybe take money off costume or something. But like, I remember one day, like Grant, we had to do this. Technically, I guess like a nightclub ballroom thing in London.
Mm.
Called the Ivy, I think, and basically in the script it was described as being just like gold leafed, like everything was gold, like wall, and a little. I think I remember actually. Are you a Frankie Goes to Hollywood fan?
Yeah.
So
I know Frankie Goes. Yeah.
Their very controversial music video in the nightclub that was in that location.
Right? Oh, fun!
So we walked in and we're like, "Hey, Frankie Goes to Hollywood show."
Yeah.
Anyway, basically, like any other designer, he would have been handed like 20 tins of paint, and like we can only do like 2 of these walls, so like just make it work. Grant was like this: screw it, let's paint every inch gold, and he painted everything, the whole thing. And then he was like, and this is something I'd like to talk about because it goes back to working with Jamie and really good designers that really understand like a cinematographer's needs versus story, and also their needs. Like the thing about design is, if I do a good job with them, they do a good job with me. We both win.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to name names. I don't think I've had a really terrible experience, but I do know for sure that some designers just blast forward and just make the set, and they no room to put lights. There's no camera traps. There's nothing. And whereas, so anyway, what I was getting at is that
Well, I've worked with plenty of DPs who just blow it out, and then it's like, or I give you practicals and you don't turn them on, but that was an opportunity there. Like, so it goes the same way.
Part of me like learning about formality of what we talk about as the lamp store, right?
Yeah, the lamps plus.
The Crown.
Yeah.
It's a lamp store. It's basically one giant lamp store commercial.
Oh, fuck, man. I forget what I was watching the other night, and even my husband said, he goes, "There's a lot of lamps in there." I was like, there are a lot of lamps in there.
The thing is, this ballroom is one of those things that was like a Kubrick thing. There was like 60 tables, and each one of them had like a tiny little shade with a pea bulb in it. And I remember learning about just like formality of like, so the gaffer would basically take care of you, like everything's gonna be on dimmers, we'll run it all through, we have to try and hide the cable with blah blah blah, you know what it's like.
Yeah, you're gamma.
But the thing is, what I'm getting at is that Grant the designer was like very much teaching me the process of a good relationship, because he really wanted the best. I mean, the thing is, but some of these we're in an era now where these digital cameras are so fast.
Well, yeah, so fast. That's the other thing. Is like you now with
need like giant bulbs in lamps. But to be honest, I'm not that sort of DP. I still believe in crafting. I don't believe in cheating. Like I think that's cheating. Like that's just an excuse to.
Hard ceilings?
Well, hard ceilings, no, because I was totally petrified of hard. Oh, well, the thing is, here's the thing. I was thrust into hard ceilings just by accident, because I remember one prep meeting with Grant, the designer of Peaky Blinders, and there was a beautiful set, which is Aunt Polly's new home, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's got like Art Deco, and it's like, oh my God. And I saw the concept art, and I was like, this is going to be amazing. And I said, and at that point in my life, I'm like, you're going to give me an open ceiling, right? We're going to, because I'm like, I'm like a DP, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to do like the studio system. But like, he's like, there's definitely going to be an open ceiling on this set. I go, okay, definitely, pinky. We did pinkies. and then I turned up on set, and I walked in, and there was a ceiling. I was like, there's nothing even moved. There wasn't even a movable piece. And I remember like firstly I panicked.
Well, isn't that dick though?
God, how the hell am I going to like this? And then I had this epiphany. It was like, just a big, beautiful light through a window, like life would be. Just do that, Simon. And it's like, we did that, and it looked great. And then after that, I was like the opposite. I was like, just build the entire set. Because I I love walking around sets that feel like you're
Yeah,
like
it's you.
you're in the world. Like
Yeah,
Ratched was amazing. Like the that hospital or the
with
psychiatric
the
kind of
ceiling,
hospital.
the rooms were so big.
Well, you could walk in and close the door behind you and walk around like it's just real. It just felt real. I
Mm.
mean, Black Sails was amazing too. I have to say, Black Sails, like they built Nassau, which is like a Caribbean
Oh, Nassau.
it's not even a town, it's like a hamlet, and everything is functioning. There's like a little tavern, there's like houses and little huts and stuff, and you can walk around this whole thing and it's fully functioning and it's amazing.
And
I love it.
and you had a lot of candlelight in Black
Yeah, but
Sails?
here's the thing, we no, we didn't
No.
have candlelight.
No.
So candlelight is first and foremost a fire hazard.
I've done
And
sets where I've had to get triple wick.
yes, well, that's what we DPs asked for. You know
Yes.
what we get? We get double wick at best. I think
no, I got triple
like
wick.
2 triple wick candles in the world. And you probably have. But we do use but the thing is, we end up using candlelight concept in Peaky Blinders basically because it's all gaslit or moonlit, which I think is kind of cool and simple.
Yeah.
And but they would be basically LED lanterns, so we would have like flickering lantern effects, and that was what I was learning about. Again, like I don't like to cheat. I mean, you can light things with candlelight, and you totally can, but
That's
just
rough.
It's rough. It's rough on the focus puller. It's rough on everyone, and also like if you end up stuffing so many candles in a space, and you're like, I know this is real to the story, but that's why we're DPs. We can create this.
Yeah, and it's distracting.
It's distracting, and also you'll know this. It does weird things. Sometimes, like candles, they can like flicker.
Yeah.
Because they're like any tiny little movement of wind or like movement of air in a space literally can make something.
Yeah.
Did I do a scene with Ryan with a candle? And it was just flickering, like it looked like an error.
It was dancing.
Anyway, I learned then it's like it's okay to have a candle in the frame, but like I would still light it.
You was still, yeah.
Still hide a little, flicker.
I mean, I always think that when I see period pieces and I'm watching like the Gilded Age now and seeing like all their gas practicals, and then I mean they also have there are chandeliers that have, and I'm like, that's not.
Yeah, but Barry Lyndon's got a lot to answer for that because every filmmaker and DP is like, because I've actually seen the lenses.
I don't like Barry Lyndon. I'm putting it out there.
Oh, okay, that's fine. It's a very slow movie.
It's so slow.
It's so slow. Every shot starts on a close up and slowly zooms out, like over a course of like 45 minutes. Like a shot. It's like that movie is like 5 days long. But like I love it. It's like one giant painting to me. It's so beautiful.
It is beautiful. I'm not taking that.
It has a lot to answer because Kubrick was so pioneering, and he basically, as everyone knows, like if they know anything about cinematography, is that he got these NASA lenses that could shoot at T0 or T2.7 or something. T0.7. And I one day I was in a camera house in England, and somebody, it was like the Pulp Fiction briefcase.
Yeah.
Somebody opened this case, and I just saw somebody go, "Is that what I think it is?" And the guy's like, "Yeah."
It
and
was
I'm
a
like,
soul.
What's he looking at? And I looked in, and it was one of the Kubrick lenses.
Oh.
But I think like he was totally ahead of everyone, when doing that. And it's almost like he was so ahead of everyone that now you could almost light a scene with a single candle with these new Sony Venice cameras, or and like,
I mean, does that really throw you when they come out with these new cool cameras, and then you're like, fuck, I just mastered the other one, and now I gotta learn. Now we gotta like.
It's so hard to catch up with all of them. I just, I found a good groove with I've been using the Sony Venice for the last 3 shows. I mean, it's fine. I don't really like to. I'm not a techie. I mean, I leave that down to like a DIT to tell me what the next greatest. It's all about resolution and the chip that you use, and
Yeah.
But I'm like, I have this thing where I immediately rejected this notion of shooting everything wide open, and which I'll get into a really interesting thing about, because Jamie and I talk about this. You have super fast lenses and you can shoot in like candlelight or firelight. But what happens is 2/3 of your set or more is out of focus.
Right.
Even sometimes on a wide shot, like your focus is so shallow
Right.
or
You're
can
not
be
getting it.
select that you walk away with a scene and it's great and it looks very lyrical and beautiful and blah blah blah. But basically 2/3 of the set is out of focus. And I still have I'm kind of new school and old school. I really respect the old craft of filmmaking, like how they did it predominantly in the 70s. I love how
I'm a huge fan of the 70s films.
Well, you watch a film like Taxi Driver, and it's a street film in New York in the 70s where they had
the conversation. I mean, talk about focus and like, I mean, getting those long shots and like.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But like, if you think about it, like Taxi Driver is shot like on, I mean, probably at most like 50. Again, I'm not a massive guru on numbers and like stocks, but I know that it was not like 500 or 800T like today. So the values of stocks. So 500 is kind of fast. 800 is pretty fast. You could probably shoot practical light, but like now these cameras go to 4,000 ISO, and I'm like, why? Like that's okay if you're really in trouble. Like if somebody says to me, "Oh, my lights aren't turning on. Can you just put a light bulb or go on a candle?" And you go, "Yes, I can do that." But like that's just a cheat. That's not even filmmaking to me. That's just surviving a day.
But you did shoot we get the dailies every day.
Light. Like even if it's like a candle, you need to choose where the light is coming from onto a face. It's like you have to model it. Otherwise, what are you doing? Like it's also like the thing now where you can shoot in street light, and now like most of everything's getting converted to LED, so it's getting even.
Yeah, it's really street lights are really hard to get.
But like if somebody says to me, "Oh," like scowling and suddenly say, "What if I made this a night scene in this street? Could you do that?" And I'm like, "Well, let me do a night study, but yes, but I'm telling you now, it will just probably look a bit mundane because all I'm doing is exposing for like 3 blocks of existing practicals, whereas back in the day people would light, and it's not like lighting is crafting, and crafting is making decisions about tonally how you want it to feel, whereas what you're given is what you're given, and if you're given that, that's not telling that story.
Right.
In my heart, like,
that's why you're there. You just
all I'm doing is I'm just
set up a camera and shoot
advantage of fast lenses, fast camera that can shoot, basically that can shoot more than the eye can see, which I think is, I mean, I remember the tipping point for me was, it wasn't even a movie camera. It was like one of these A7 cameras, the Sony A7. And somebody had shot a test at 2:00 in the morning on a beach that was just lit by the moon. And it looked, you can look this up. It looked like mid-afternoon.
Oh.
It was like, it's something like crazy, like 27,000 ISO. Like, I was like, this is where it's going. And I'm like,
it's too much.
It's too much. And also like, why? It's great if you're just like an independent filmmaker and you want to go out and shoot available, but available is available. Available isn't design. It's just what you're given. Whereas if you make the difference between shooting at a street at night with available light and a Ryan Murphy set, you're talking completely two massive, like, different
apples and oranges.
Basically, one is a proper filmmaking process, and one is literally just shooting what you're given.
Do you
is available and like,
do you always have to have a wet down?
Well, no, listen, I take it street by street.
Okay.
You know what? I defer to the director.
Now a wet down is when they're shooting outside and you wet the street so that you get reflections of light off of the street and you're getting another source.
Well, now, the old masters would can talk. I still remember like the masters that I love, and they would always ask for a wet down, because what it does is it gives you free production value.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily logical, because sometimes it's like, why would there be a wet down at night in LA?
Yeah.
But what it gives you is it gives you double
Sources. You're getting
double effect, double design. You know,
Yeah.
it feels it just, I don't know, it's just lovely. But like, I don't know, yeah. There's also a world where you could say this wouldn't happen if you're
like I
being.
was watching Tick Tick Boom, and all of a sudden it was like this huge street with like a wet down. I was like, you just took me out of it. Like,
I mean,
if you want me to believe you're dancing in the street, but does it have to have a wet down? Like, I don't know.
The problem is like that felt like it had like every wet down conceivable. I mean, they looked like they had permanent
Drenched.
oil.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's like anything. It's a choice, and I kind of think that you have to discuss it, because it's not like, I mean, to be honest, I've always found like this. Here's the scenario. It's always like AD would turn to me, "Do you want to wet down?" And I would turn in turn to the director, "Do you want to wet down?" And just without even blinking, they'd go, "Well, yeah, why not?"
Yeah.
I mean, like that looks cool, right? It looks cool.
Yeah.
Whereas sometimes it's like you should sort of maybe have a conversation and say, do you think this is subtextually right for the scene?
Yeah, I don't think it's needed on every
Have
single
I always
street.
asked for a wet down?
No,
right.
no. It's a joke, actually. It goes.
It's a running joke with.
It's a running joke with me with DPs, but I worked with a DP, and every street had to have a wet down, and there was a lot of like night scenes and everything on Bones, and I did like 6 seasons with this guy, and it was always like, we're gonna have to get Gordon loves a wet down, like, you know, it's always like.
And then Tay has to come in with his big hose, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I have to say though, it does. I mean, it does look cool. I mean, it's some things you're a sucker for, you know. It just works. It always works. Like.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. It's a total switching of gears, but do you ever get involved with any sort of storyboarding when they're on? And how? Because I talked with this illustrator.
I've done a storyboarding class.
You have? I almost went into storyboarding. My
first paid job, as I was almost going to be I was long story short. So you know, one of the film schools I went to, they asked me a few years later to be a film tutor, if you can believe that.
What do you mean a film tutor?
Like a film, you know, like to come in and teach filmmaking.
Oh, a film instructor, like a teacher.
Whatever. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And they were like, "Here's the salary," and I was like, and I was totally broke. I think I was probably sleeping in that garage. and they were like, "You can start like next week," and blah blah blah. You get a pension. Okay. And I was like, and I thought about it for about 5 minutes, and I pictured myself like a couple of years from now, really bitter, and just teaching filmmakers. Because basically, I had this theory that the film tutors and film teachers, you've never heard of them. Like, they're basically failed filmmakers.
Those who cannot do teach.
But they're smart. They have enough smarts to go into a room and teach you film theory.
Yeah. It's weird.
What was the question again?
Well, just storyboarding.
Oh, storyboarding. So yeah, I still have this memory of going in. I was petrified. I done a couple of I basically went in and I had about 20 film students, and I taught them about storyboarding. I mean, storyboarding. I only see it from an insurance point of view of anything that's non-drama based, like anything that involves action, stunts, angles, VFX. That's all I've seen it used for. Right. But now, really, we live in a pre-viz world. Everything gets pre-viz.
But when they do that, and then they've created this light in there, and then you're like, "Oh, dude, why did you put that in there? Like, that wasn't the way I was gonna go." I mean, there's some influence that people are like, "Oh, I thought it was gonna look like that," or, you know.
I think that's the double-edged sword of storyboarding. Basically, what it does is it creates this straitjacket. So everyone's seen them. Everyone has an expectation of what it's going to be. And then you turn up and it's nothing like that. Yeah. And they get really troubled. They're like, but this is the shot. It's like, well, that's not working. We're going to do this. And I found myself in more discussions about fixing a pre. So I think I would never say that turning up and making up as you're going along is the best way of making anything.
No, the prep is certainly important.
It is the world we live in predominantly. I kind of like moving organically, and I don't always say to a director, "Can you make sure we've got a shot list before we go?"
Right.
Generally, they'll talk about. I think filmmaking today is less shot lists, less storyboards. It's more tone.
Yeah.
All you do is you'll say, I want this to feel like this scene in this movie or this painting or this photograph. I
agree with you, but I think
you have an anchor point, and that's it's abstract enough for everyone not to get upset when it doesn't turn into that. But
right.
It helps.
Yeah.
I don't really like direct references, if honest. I hate references that are from a movie about 3 years ago. Like if somebody says to me, I want this to be like Tick, Tick, Boom, I'm like, they've just made that movie, man. Like, what? Why are you like? I don't like that, but I do like. Well, we've talked about this, but the 70s, if somebody says to me, like, I mean, one of your questions actually I love is like, if I could DP any TV show or film, right, in history, like one of my heroes when I was getting mature enough to understand films and how complicated they were and how grey storytelling can be is Alan J. Pakula, right? So Alan J. Pakula made, All the President's Men, Klutz, Parallax View, and I got to make an Alan J. Pakula movie in 10 hours because that was Impeachment, right?
Yeah.
But I love like watching his movies because they're so great. Like morally, they're very great because life is like that, but they're also very compelling and very tense and atmospheric. And Gordon Willis also happens to be my hero. So like he shot all of these references, and together, like I just love, and it sort of was, what I love about the 70s and how there was a big transition in the studio system because it went from being the golden era of Hollywood to the 60s to like Easy Rider to then like
the grittiness, there's the real storytelling.
Yeah, street films.
Yeah,
like street films.
Mean Streets.
I still have this little dream that I can get in a time machine and I can go back to like 1971, and I could go to like. I could shoot The Conversation. That's what I would love.
Oh my God!
If I got to shoot any, and the thing is, that's my desert island movie. Like I can, it used to be The Shining, then it used to be like Raise the Lost Ark because I love that movie.
I love that movie.
I love Fargo. I love The Godfather. But like The Conversation is just, first off, when somebody's eyes light up when you say that movie, if they react. You go, okay, we're going to connect.
Yeah.
If they go,
I've never seen it. Never
heard of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I got excited because when I watched the new Batman movie,
I didn't see it yet.
Richard Patterson was saying, he referenced, like he mentioned in an interview, The Conversation was one of the key references, and I was like, well, I've got to go see this movie now. And I guess it is in there. It's a very noir film, but anyway, The Conversation is just to me, it's a perfect film because like Francis Coppola made it between all of his famous movies. Like nobody, like he made The Godfather, and then he made this, and then he made The Godfather 2, I think. And I just love it, even down to the opening scene, the way that it's, and the thing, I think it's like a very, it's almost like a 70s Rear Window. Like it's a very.
I think every time I watch it, I find something different or that I didn't pay attention to the last time I saw it. But I'm so intrigued of how it's shot and how beautiful it is.
Yeah, it is.
But it's not great. It's not great sets. It's not great,
No, it's very it's pretty simple, but it's like I remember and
the dialogue is great. I mean, the story is really intense and interesting.
Yeah, It's also a movie that has a great American actor. It has
I
a
love
great
Gene
American
Hackman.
director who knows his shit. Like there's a scene when, and again, this is like my memory. This is like what you're saying. Like every time you watch it, it's something different. But there's always a scene where I remember where he walks into his apartment, he closes the door, he like locks all these locks. He's obviously super paranoid, but he's like this spy. Like he's like he creates surveillance equipment or he surveils people, and the camera is slowly panning, like just like a surveillance camera, left, and then it stops, and then it pans right, and it just keeps moving. But he's like walking in and out of the
Yeah.
shot, and
Yeah.
I just think it's like a filmmaker who clearly had a lot of freedom to do what his movie should be, but also it's like a cult film. Like people watch it and go, "Oh my god!" And the end, like
Yeah.
he's so paranoid, but he wouldn't even break the
His
the
own
Virgin Mary. Do you remember the same?
the
Like he would
statue.
smash up the
Yeah.
entire because you thought he was being bugged. So he's like pulling up the floorboards, and he goes to like he's smashing everything, and he goes to the Virgin Mary, right, the little
Yeah.
statue,
He doesn't want
and
to. He's
he doesn't want to
superstitious.
because
Yeah.
so
He's like,
like
please
it's
don't let
like
it be.
God. But and also like the fact that one of my other favorite movies is Lost Highway, and he's a jazz. What's the jazz person called? Jazzist, jazz.
Yeah. Jazzist.
Anyway,
Oh.
but he plays. Um,
Flute. No, oboe? What are you doing there?
what does he play? Do you remember what he plays in the
I'm
movie?
trying to think.
The
Is
Conversation?
Lost Highway was like early 90s? Is it
Well,
like.
late night. It was like '97, but like no, in that movie, like the character, one of his little kind of ticks is that he loves to play the saxophone. That's what it
Oh,
is. And
okay.
then in Gene Hackman plays the saxophone.
Oh, yeah.
That's his way of like
Yeah, that's his
just
downtime.
just like
Decompressing.
decompress. Yeah, some people go and get drunk, and he just plays the saxophone.
Wait, is the
But
guy
I
who made
it's a
Lost Highway the guy who made like Mulholland Falls? Or is it Lynch?
yeah,
Is it David
David
Lynch?
Lynch.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay,
Uh,
that's what I'm thinking of.
that's a
Yeah.
crazy movie. It's
Yeah.
very weird. I love it. Anyway, but this conversation is definitely it's sort of a movie that you can just watch privately and you can learn so much and go, oh yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
I mean, I'd sooner watch something like that than even like The Godfather, because The Godfather is so carbon copied,
Yeah.
or, but the thing is, the thing that you is amazing about The Godfather. I mean, I'm going on about Coppola, but he was a master. But
Well, yeah.
then what's so amazing about The Godfather, what you can learn so much about is restraint.
Mm.
Camera, like I don't think there's a camera move in the first scene, but basically the camera hardly moves. All it does is it'll pan with the character. It's very simple, and I think that there's a lot to be said about that kind of craft. And I still think, I mean, I just finished Candy.
Oh, yeah, I
for
want to
Hulu,
ask you about
and
that.
one of the references was because it's Candy Montgomery, so she basically ends up axing her best friend from church to death, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a comedy.
Yeah.
No, actually,
it's a romantic comedy.
It's got a funny bone. It's kind of like, so the first reference was Fargo, because I kept thinking about that scene with the log, him putting, he's trying to put the foot into the log.
And he's pushing it in and he's getting it.
He's pushing it in. And I just remember, like, that's really dark, but it's so funny.
Yeah, he can't.
So this TV show's like that, right?
Mm.
And after we started shooting, and Mike Uppendale, who I've worked with now for like 3 times now, like Mike and I were pushing for like a boxy,
director.
like almost Polaroid camera ratio.
Mm.
And the closest we could kind of get away with the studio kind of accepted was like 1:6:6, if you know anything about that, which is basically a little bit like, it's just a little bit boxier than your home TV.
Mm.
Anyway, the more we were shooting, the more I started thinking about like Napoleon Dynamite and how and that movie is about just lovely little tableau shots. It's almost like you're just watching things happen in the frame. And
Yeah.
luckily, this show, because I've just come from the grade, the edits are amazing. Like they really hold on shots.
Oh, that's fantastic.
They really do, and they really hold on. Like it's not even holding on shots. after somebody's left a room, they'll sometimes hold the shot for like 4 seconds, 5 seconds. Like a normal editor would be like, I'm out.
Right.
But it's so weird and cool. Anyway, what I'm basically saying is that we were in a trend of a very fast moving film industry of fast storytellers, and we want to cut. But I think it's like anything; everything has to come in a full. Like you can't do that for the rest of eternity of filmmaking. Like you can't.
But is there
Everyone's just
always is there always a
there's
strive?
no patience anymore with
No,
people.
no. But isn't there always a strive to find a unique shot? Like I would have to say, you shot the oval from above, and that I mean we've seen it, and they look down on the rug and everything, but you took it higher, and so you encompass the oval of it.
I have to give a big shout out to Dave Donahoe right now.
Oh, because he let you go that high? The grip?
I'm surprised he got into the building. His ego was so gigantic. Hello, Dave. Like, he listens to this, he'll laugh, because I push his buttons all the time. No, listen, like Gary, and the rigging grip and Dave, like they had that system. I mean, were you there? So it's like something out of Close Encounters of the Third Kind. So basically, there's the emblem.
Yeah.
So
in the ceiling.
The crest.
Yeah. The emblem in the ceiling.
And basically, it's sealed. So it's a sealed set. But on cue, when you ask for it, so I didn't even get up onto the ceiling, but what I picture was this amazing, like levers and pulleys, and like it's almost like a production line. So like what happens is the emblem rises, right?
You pulled it off, yeah.
And it just slides over. So they've got this kind of like lever system where it slides off the set and then down, and then in comes like this amazing like camera, it's like a cubic camera rig that comes down, that descends into the set. You put the camera into it and it goes back up again, and then you can do a remote head shot. But to see, every time it happened, I was like, Dave, where's the theme music? There needs to be theme music. Dun, 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 or like 2001.
Yeah.
But no, that I love those shots. And every time Mike Uppendorf, who was pretty much the one that I think Mike's episodes have all of them. Because here's the thing, like we still shoot real fast with Ryan. Like there's sometimes moments where it's like we would have a rig ready and we'd be like, oh, we gotta shoot. Let's just go on with it. But when we did the top shots, I was so happy. Like I would always learn how to get it advanced. Even like Dave would honestly, he would just like, if you want to get ready at lunchtime, I'll get it. I'll do it.
Because it's not like the whole ceiling came off. You're explaining that it was only like the center of the seal.
It's like the sinkhole.
So to get that shot to show the whole room, that's a big deal.
Rather than just like being just a
it's usually just like on the emblem of the carpet, and then somebody comes up. There's the rotation of it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I also remember like being really proud of like how we used them. Like we used them sporadically in the show, but like they were used really nicely.
Yeah.
Like there's one scene where
when he's alone in there, there's one where he's alone in there at the desk.
Like when I kind of liked it for having when her first journey into the Oval Office, just to feel. There's a theory about top shots that it exceeds just being a top shot, right? Sometimes you look at it as like God looking down on.
I think of it as a mousetrap.
Right. So there you go.
Yeah.
So there's a theory about stuff like Coppola I talk about that. Do you remember the scene when Marlon Brando is gunned down in the street by the fruit stall?
Yeah.
Right. Remember that?
Yeah.
And for a moment in that scene, there's a same thing. There's a top shot.
Right. They end on it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And he spills out over the floor, and the oranges go everywhere, and there's oranges.
Yeah, oranges.
oranges. And I remember learning from that because the Coppola was like, I want to do a top shot. And so Gordon Willis, right, he's very, very tough. Like he's got these very strict dogma things he keeps to. He doesn't break them. He's like, this is how I want to shoot it, blah blah blah. And he says, well, this shot on the ground is like, this is this character and this is that character. What's that character? Who is that? And Coppola, I could be completely lying about this. I could have imagined that they said this, but Coppola supposedly said that's God's point of view.
Shut the fuck up and just shoot it.
Well, it's like, yeah, but like there's something really fascinating about Top Shot. Like there's some amazing ones in Taxi Driver. Like at the end of Taxi Driver, there's one that goes through the middle of a room. Like it's like.
Don't they pull out in Chinatown too? Don't they pull up in Chinatown?
Yeah. There's so many good Top Shots, and they're great. They're very. You know what it is? There's always a good top shot, and there's always a good back of someone's head. They're like very like. It's like a staple thing. Like everyone has to do them, and they like. I love doing them, but like, yeah. But what I'm getting at is I was super proud that we didn't like overkill it, and we sort of like we managed to do like I think it ended up like 6 of them, and every time we did them, they were either rotating in a different direction or. But there was one that I liked where. Basically, Bill had 2 of his advisors, which was one of them played by. I have to say this: the kid from Jurassic Park.
Right. I don't know his name.
I know, but I was so.
I know. Yeah. I know.
I didn't tell him. He probably gets it every day, but I was like, he's like probably what 35 now, but he still looks like 9.
You're still the kid. Even the dressed up, you're like a man kid.
It's like when you meet like Elliot from ET, you know.
Yeah, you always think Legends of the Fall. That's all I'm thinking.
And I was like, it's the kid.
Yeah.
With the wobbly jelly.
Well, I worked with the kid from Sixth Sense, and I was like,
oh, really?
You're still the dude. You're still the kid.
Osmond.
Yeah, you're still. He's
what
weird.
I love about him.
He's so weird.
He doesn't seem to have any vanity about his looks now. He's like a bear.
Yeah, he's a bear.
He's got like a massive beard.
Yeah.
He looks nothing like he looks.
He was super in character. He was all about it. Whatever. But I mean, he was nice. He wasn't a dick, but he was nice. But the whole time you're looking at him, you're like, I see dead people. I see dead people.
Yeah.
But yes, when I see that guy, I think of Jurassic Park too.
I've had two. Actually, this is my bucket list. I got 2 Jurassic Park actors done. So I've worked with Sam Neill.
Oh.
Sam Neill was amazing, of course, and he's like, it was a moment. So he was in Peaky Blinders, and I didn't. One bit of trivia is he was born in Belfast. Do you know this?
Oh, he's Irish.
He's
Irish?
well.
I thought he was Australian.
By birth. But he lives in New Zealand and like he's got.
Oh, New Zealand. Did you ever see Dead Again? Not Dead Again. Dead Calm.
Dead Calm.
Is a great movie.
Billy Zane is so good movie. Anyway,
yeah.
So I want to tell you this story. So, everyone was so tempted to like. They were like the whole Jurassic Park reference, right? And but when he walks on set, Sam Neill, he's very commanding. You walk on set and you shut up, right? He's there. He doesn't really mix. He's just like, get someone there. He's cool. Anyway, I think there was one day where one of the grips just started whistling the Jurassic Park theme tune, and I sort of looked over and I was like, it was almost like a bet. It's like somebody's got to do it. Like if there's somebody got to do it, and then I could see, like, this is all visual right now, but if you see me now. Like Sam Neill started twitching, like it's like
oh no,
and it's like, and he's like, but this is of course before like now he's like back in the movie, he's like in the new
he's in the new one,
probably paid like $20 million, but like anyway, I don't know what my point was, but like
cool shit. Well, I got one for you. I worked on a movie with the guy who played Buffalo Bill in Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, I love that guy.
Yeah. And someone at lunch asked him, like, could you place the fucking lotion in the basket?
In the basket.
Place the fucking lotion in the basket. Tuck it in, and could you? But he just laughed. He didn't do it, but he just laughed. He's like, oh, that's great. But yeah, but was Sam Neill pissed about Jurassic Park? I guess I don't know that.
No, what I'm saying is like it's. Follows him everywhere. Like,
yeah.
It's like,
well, it has
like
to.
Really,
it's the biggest movie.
It's like So but the thing is, he's not. He's I don't know how old he's 70 or something, but he's cool. But he said there was a thing where. So this is season 2 of Peaky Blinders, and season 1. Thanks to George Steele, who I'm going to credit right now. Like George did an amazing job because basically George like ignored. I'm guessing he ignored a lot of advice from what is probably very conservative television in England, who at that point would never even. You'd never even go into a meeting and say we're going to do this like The Godfather, and like so they'll be like, yeah, okay, well that sounds great, The Godfather. How much money did it make?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and they go and watch it, and it's super freaking dark, and they like can't see anyone's eyes, and like you're gonna do it like this. So anyway, long story short, George did an amazing job. He got it out. He got it. He made that show what it is, and I took over, and I just basically did more of what he did.
Yeah.
And his first day was Sam, and he said we ended up nicknaming him the Moth because what happened was he was so petrified of being in the shadows, like not seen. He thought he wasn't even going to be like visible. Like he was petrified. Like he's like, oh, I mean, most of it came from the director. He's like, so I think you should be here in this corner, and maybe you do your line, and then you sit in this chair, and then you walk over here. And he's like, oh, okay, I get it. The Prince of Darkness. and Colum's like, I can see he's smart enough to understand like the reference that we're supposed to go for. He said, and instead Sam was like, I think my character would be over here, and he walked straight over to the window where there was loads of light coming through, and he was just like, I should do all of the dialogue from this window.
Oh, the Moth. He's going to the light.
And
I get it.
Going to the light. And
yeah.
in the end, like it was funny. It was like it wasn't like a fallout. It was just a running joke that Peaky Blinders is a freaking dark show.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
But it's also like there's dark, and this is another thing about cinematography, right? And every DP goes through this, right? There's dark and there's gloomy, right? And gloomy's bad. Like producers hate gloomy. Dark is okay if you have a reference of light. If you have one reference of light in a shot.
But do you know for this new Batman movie, there's like theaters are putting out there like there's nothing wrong with this movie. Yeah. We're not giving you your money back. It's dark.
It's dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
Also, like,
I didn't
Greg
see it.
Fraser's
But
like one of my he's just knocking it out of the park right now, and I'm like, this guy's got an amazing technique, and I don't know if you know this, but he and this is a very interesting process. Is they shoot digitally, and then they transfer the digital movie to film.
Oh.
And then they scan the film back to digital.
Why?
So what happens is in the interim of like the scanning, it basically creates what we try to do now, and I'm doing it right now in the grade, is that you put like grain effect.
Grain makes it grainy.
Well, it makes it just feel a little bit more rich and like film. So rather than do that, he's like, I don't know. Actually, just before Christmas, I emailed Greg about something because I was curious about maybe filters or something. And he replied to me. He's amazing. He's really giving. And he said to me, this is what we're doing as well. So he did it on Dune and on Batman. So what it does is it creates this liquid film effect on digital. So you get it like by doing the transfer.
Oh. And that doesn't affect.
There's companies that provide grain look at a cost,
I
think is very effective. But
they
anyway,
have that.
That's why the movie looks like that, because
it's.
I mean, I went to the theater, and I was a bit like, you can't see me. Well, I'm raising my glasses
up and down, up and down.
I was like, oh my god, this is brave. Like this is. I mean, there's some scenes. It's like whoa.
Well, I mean, doesn't that annoy you?
So
if you weren't a
I'm a DP. So
but if you weren't a DP,
I were. What am I now?
If you were.
Oh wait, no. But the thing is,
just a man, just a boy.
Well, the thing is, I can't really I can't go to the cinema and not analyze something that I'm watching, because I'm kind of like, sometimes I'm watching a scene, and before the scene has ended, I'm trying to analyze how the hell they did it.
Yeah.
Whereas really,
Well, that's
what you're
all I
supposed
think
to be
about
doing
it.
is getting floated, you're getting pulled into a story and transported into another world. But like, I know that that can be distracting, but I don't see it as distraction. I see it as like, I hate the
Storytelling?
word.
You're going to tell me
Well, no, I hate the
storytelling?
word genius, but auteurism is, it's brave in this day and age to do well, I remember the first time I saw Inception.
Oh, so good.
It's so good, but it's like a $200 million art house movie. I mean,
Yeah.
nobody can make that.
Every
And
time I've seen Inception, I still think, fuck, did I miss a scene? Did I... Wait, they're in it. They're in the kick. He's going to kick. He's
he's
kicking
gonna
that one.
kick.
He's going to
Yeah.
kick. Like,
And then
every time I...
the end shot, just like when it wobbles.
Yeah, that is
Like,
great.
oh, it was all a dream.
Yeah, it is great.
Or are we like
Oh,
4 levels ahead of subconsciousness? Is there that we've broken through a wall? It's an amazing film, but like, like, and it was a big hit. So I think films like that paved the way for like,
well, look at Game of Thrones. Everyone was pissed that one episode was so dark.
yeah,
And then...
but Fabian like had to protect. He had to
Yeah.
defend himself
Yeah.
on social.
But what if they said to you, well, we can't get that Sony camera you want? Would you
I'd say
walk out?
well, I have stood my. I mean, on Hollywood, I really wanted live color. Like I wanted to, because I just knew it was the right thing to do. It's not me being selfish. I just knew that I needed to do it so Ryan could see really good, graded visuals in the edit. And they were like, "We're not paying for a DIT." And I'm like, "Okay, well then I'm not going to DP this show." And that was my ultimatum. It wasn't a threat. I just simply said,
you knew what it needed.
I care about this show, and I think it's impossible to do this without live color because there's so many things going on. Anyway, I put that ultimatum, and in the end, they didn't. I can't remember what the story was. Was it Hollywood that they didn't give it to me? But we ended up. Spencer just took one on the chin and did it. And by the end of the show, there was this 180-degree turn on opinion. Like they were like, "Oh, we totally get this now." Basically, the edit went straight into the approval, which went straight into the grade, which was a reference of what we shot. So it was so fast.
Oh.
And on Impeachment, so Impeachment was my full-time package, like perfect TV show. Like I had live color. As you saw, I had like a 55-inch OLED TV, which was totally calibrated.
You had a pretty sweet setup. Like your setup, you have these.
That's Spencer Schwitz for you. That's Spencer's like made that like roadie box
that
had this.
That cart that you have is pretty sweet because the big huge screen that you have and like, is it 2 or 1?
Here's what's amazing. I think that I thought it was common, but I saw a DP the other night at the AAC Awards, and he came in on Impeachment and did a. In fact, he did the Newsweek stuff. Do you remember Tommy Maddox?
Yeah.
So Tommy won, by the way.
That's awesome.
Which is totally deserved. Anyway, I met him before, and I was like, "Hey man, just want to say hi, good luck, and great stuff. And he's like, "Yeah man, the show looks great." And he says, "By the way," he went straight to England to do a new show, a new movie. He says, "I've been telling everyone about your DIT station. Like everyone should get it." And I'm like, "Oh, I thought it was more common, but
no, it's a sweet setup because you can see it. You can really see what's
wizard.
Yeah, but you can really see it. I think it should be kind of a standard at some point because there's a lot of DPs.
You know what's so amazing is that OLED TV. I bought 2 of them for my home. I was like, "That's what you."
Oh, nice.
When you watch because obviously, like Spencer's taught. I'm good on menus, but even he's taught me exactly how to set your TV up, so you're watching it exactly as you're seeing it. And the amazing is that if you're on another set and you've got like 4 monitors, all it takes is somebody to press the wrong calibration setting, and one of those monitors isn't even anywhere near what it should look like. So this OLED with the split screen is exactly calibrated, so every single So say if you have
The
three cameras,
quadrant. Yeah, yeah.
well, we had a quadrant set up, but like it's three cameras, and then the fourth quadrant is the reference
Right.
to a previous shot, so everyone could walk up and ask anything at any time. And
I found
and
it extremely helpful for
it's
me.
amazing, right?
Yeah.
But it's also just like it wasn't even that. Spencer like thought about the data process, so he's like, "Oh, you want to see a scene from 3 weeks ago, scene 23A?" And like within 30 seconds, he's pulling up the shots. I'm
It's
like,
incredible.
that's perfect, and that's why Impeachment was so fast in post production too, because they um, they had all the references. Literally, I think everything I watched on the show is exactly what we did
Well,
on set, pretty much.
yeah. I too. That is a great tool for the onset dresser to have that look and that like being able
Everyone
to
should
see
have a
things.
reference. Like,
Yeah.
why is it like, why can't you just walk up to somebody and say, "Can I see?" You know, rather than like, that's the other thing is the output of images from dailies is not always what you expect. It's not always like, oh, everyone's going to see it. It's like, no, actually, there's a very VIP.
The dailies were frightening to me. They were so dark.
Yeah. Well, the thing is,
But
they
I know.
were so dark, but it's like that's how I know, like the process of like. And again, this is something that I can talk a long time about, but dailies is interesting. So dailies, there's one world, right? There's a world where you keep execs happy and you make them a little bit brighter and safer. But I know that's not what the scene should be. And I know ultimately everything, because we're shooting 6K, is all the values are there. We can go to we can go as bright as you want. But I was like, we got to make this look like the show.
Right.
And to be honest, when you watch a still, you have to look at it like in a black
Yeah.
box.
Yeah. Like a movie theater.
Especially on a show that is referencing like the parallax view and All the President's Men. I'm like, I was honoring that show.
Yeah.
That movie. But like that's the difficult thing of doing 10 hours of All the President's Men is
yeah.
It's like you have to really squint to see what you're looking at, but ultimately when it's finally tweaked and graded, it's really great, and I'm super proud of it.
No, it is. It's beautifully done, and working with you has made me like DPs again. But also just wanting.
I'm like, how many assholes are out there? Like really? There's a lot, right? I don't know.
There's a lot of people who think they're God. They control the light. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I've worked with Tom Miguel. I worked with like plenty of nice people too. It's the one or two that were pricks, and then you're like, oh, don't be like that.
Yeah.
But
I find negative energy exhausting. Like being angry.
Oh yeah.
Like why? If you're shouting at somebody, how are they going to learn? Like, are you? Well, I mean, I've heard this. Like, the DP's like literally scolding crew members for like doing a bad pan, and it's like, give them a break. Like, it's like my saying on set, which is I say it a lot, maybe too much, but like, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. Like, don't worry about it. Like, just do it again. Like, we'll do it again. Yeah. We'll do it until you're happy. Like, I just find anyway. But also, I'm a super like
you're
quiet
super
person.
Chill.
I can't get angry.
But
I can't get angry.
There's
like,
also
angry is a very negative energy on set, and it's also very selfish energy.
Yeah,
because
we're all under pressure.
When you see like somebody, like I hate conflict. Like, so if you see two people arguing on set, okay, A, that's bad karma. Like B, it spreads as energy through a set, and it makes it uncomfortable environment. And what happens? People aren't focused. They're like nervous.
Yeah.
Or they're like
tippy toes.
Tippy toes. I was like, oh, this is a weird set.
Yeah.
Like some people have said this, like they've walked on a set and you don't have to even, it's not even about people talking. There's just a weird atmosphere. Like you just feel it, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
you
can
the
feel
sets
it.
we worked on, we're all in the freaking trench. Like I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm like,
we're
I'm
all
here
in
too, like
survival
guys, like
mode. Yeah.
I'm kind of like, you want me to move that light? I'll move the light. It's like, this is fucking get on with it and don't worry about it. And like, I still remember like paint drying on the walls on Impeachment, and I'm like literally changing the last gel on a light before turning the camera on.
Yeah.
Like, and like that thing where you just pray it's all fine, and like, like Ryan wants to shoot. Okay, all right, we gotta shoot.
But there's also
But,
too, I think, not that we had a huge amount of prep, but there was a lot of conversation with set deck and lighting about how this was going to be lit and what practicals were like the practical next to
yeah.
Linda, like he wanted like the pink,
Well,
you
that's
know,
the thing. I said this.
the
No,
light
I said this
shades.
earlier about they may feel like small decisions about. I'm learning more and more about this. Is to be very fastidious about the simpler things. Like you said, if you've got a living room and you've got one practical that lights or is illumination for a character for 10 hours,
Yeah.
you should test the hell out of that. Then that light, because that's gonna make or break your photography. Like you can't like fix that shit, especially if an actor like
Yeah.
loves it or like it's like where's that light gone?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I really think that, but that's design, that's story. That's
Yeah.
not like, to me that is lighting, but it's also story. Like I think these choices are really key. Like you have to like don't just make a decision on a whim. Like don't kind of go, oh, it'll be fine. You have to test everything inside out that is going to be a repetitious creative element in a set. It's like saying, oh, on Peaky Blinders, do you want these oil lamps or do you want these oil lamps or these oil lamps? And so I would test them,
Yeah.
and we would find the right ones. And it's like you got to be like those little. They do feel like little small decisions, but they're giant because the dailies really reflect on that.
It was real. I felt like, oh, I hope I'm helping, or I hope I'm collaborating, or I hope I'm giving options that lend to what everyone's trying to achieve here. And I think it made me dig deeper into, well, what is even the shape of this shade? Like for Linda, like,
Yeah.
I don't want it to be, I want it to peer onto
It has
her.
to have contrast and mood.
Yeah. I mean, it just to me.
Shades, I tell you, like shades is a big conversation. Like we went through this. Do you remember we went through the thing of like we want to put toppers?
The toppers.
And it's like, oh my god, I just opened a massive can of worms.
Yeah, you
but
did.
Like, the thing about it is
thousands of dollars I spent on those toppers.
Like it's like $20 from like Homebase or the hardware store.
No, we had to have the grips make some. I couldn't get them in time.
Oh, did we? Yeah, I know. I heard all about that from Donna. Like we made this. I'm like,
well,
okay.
Bro, I don't know. Every other show they make them. I don't know.
Exactly. But the thing is, it's to me, it's kind of like when you walk into a living room and you feel comfortable and you kind of know it's right. That's when you know you've got that. Like it should be completely it should completely be logical to the character, but B, it should design things. It was almost like if you choose like a certain. This is why I love gaffers, because they've got such a knowledge of all, and I don't have any knowledge of
light bulbs and shit.
Of light bulbs, like I know light bulb. I mean, I'm like I think this should be frosted and warm and blah blah. But like they'd be like, well, now we've got like LED light bulbs that can go any color and LED, blah blah. But it's like, to me, if you got 10 hours of a lampshade that has a certain texture on it that we haven't really had time to test, and we're just going with it, and now you're stuck. You're stuck with that.
Yeah. Now
unless you sort of secretly try to test it, but there's no time. I still remember like walking into like the Ritz-Carlton set and testing with Jeff.
Well, I asked about those black shades.
I forgot, the black shades. They're amazing though, because they shot light right up into the ceiling, right?
Yeah.
That was the opposite of like the capped ones.
Yeah.
I loved that because I thought that was the expression But the thing is, once you start shooting, there's no turnaround. You can't fix stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's like this is why I think design. It's like I'm not talking about lighting. I'm talking about design. Like the texture, whatever texture's on that lampshade and where you bought it and how many copies you've got it, you're fixed with. Like that's it.
Well, yeah.
You like if you're not.
That floor lamp broke in Monica's apartment. It was like a nightmare. We couldn't get one. You guys were shooting. My bleed man had to go.
Monica's was interesting because it had loads like halogen spots.
Yeah.
Which I think we only used like maybe 2% of the show, but at the same time they were always there when we saw low shots. They were like there. Like, you don't have to have everything on.
No.
But the thing is, like, production designers, and I've been through. I'm not gonna. Well, I'm gonna name names, but like in a good way. So in Hollywood, Matthew
Ferguson
did a beautiful job, like amazing. So there's one scene, and he might know what I'm going to talk about now. So there's one scene where there's like technically a cottage at the back of this mansion,
right?
And there's an illicit scenario of these two characters maybe having sex, maybe not. And in the moment, a DP can think like this. I just turned one of the practicals, the side bed practicals off, but kept the other one on. Because my theory is life isn't perfect, and that's what we do. Like I turn one light on and keep it off.
Right.
But sometimes a production designer's brain doesn't think like that at all. So when he saw the dailies, he actually it was the first time that we had words.
Right.
But it was just like, I said to him, this is my theory. And he's like, yeah, but it looks so unformed. There's no...
The balance is off.
There's no balance in the scene. I'm like, what is balance? Like, what? To me, that's balance. Like, I feel like there's a edge and the scene demanded some kind of weird edge. Like, it was there was two characters doing something that was very wrong.
Yeah, they didn't have time to turn both lights on. I mean, that's reality. I mean,
that's what you say.
Yeah.
But like sometimes production designer, although I haven't, you know what Jamie always says? Like, Jamie's got, the only beef that Jamie has is freaking palm trees.
Yeah,
she loves the bit. She's like, I always remember, like, there was a scene in The Politician. It was like a church in Pasadena. And we were shooting away, and I had no choice. I had this crane. It was flying everywhere, and Brad, the director, was just flying the crane everywhere. Like it was like take after take. I think it probably did like 40 takes. I know what it was the bride coming out in this long veil. It was beautiful, and she gets into a taxi. She kind of ruffles up the veil, and she's like, "Take me to the airport." And it's like every take was moving, and it had a palm tree in it. And this is supposed to be, I can't remember, but it's not LA.
Really?
And she saw the dailies, and she just sent me one of the stills. She was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
And we to this very day we laugh about this, but I'm like, I had no choice, but they're going to paint it out. I guarantee it.
Okay.
And then I'm like, with a winky emoji, like, I don't know if they're going to do it. Maybe they'll forget. Maybe they'll run out.
Can't rely on that guy for everything.
In fact, we're going through the thing about VFX these days, right? Is 90% invisible. Like, it's all stuff that you're not even. It basically is taking out. If you're doing like right now, we're doing a period show, right? It's in 1980 and 1978. So all the budget is invisible. It just gets. You're just basically erasing any a satellite dish on the top of the house. It's like, that's not period. This light switch isn't period. Take it out. And so today I was chatting to the colorist, and I was like, this is a thankless job. Like, VFX work isn't what you think. It's not like Marvel where they put in 90% of it is the reverse. It's about taking shit out.
Yeah.
And when you watch it, nobody will know because
nobody knows that you took out.
Nobody expects it. Nobody analyzes it. It's not like you go, "Oh my God, you know what? I think there was a palm tree in that shot." But now look at it. It's gorgeous.
Yeah. There was probably a palm tree there. But
there was definitely a palm tree. Yeah.
The VFX guy, I'm blanking on his name on Impeachment, he would come on the scouts. And, Jamie McCall, just sometimes gets the Italian out, and she just starts whipping her hand, and like, you know, in a good way of like, you got to paint that out, you got to take out those trees, you got to make that this, and blah blah blah. And I'd be like, damn, dude, that guy's got a lot of work to do. Like, I went up to him the one time, I go, you got helpers, right? Like, it's not just you and your basement. Yeah. And he's like, no, now I got a whole team.
No, he'll tell you he's got like 60,
yeah,
like 60 children in South Korea. No, it's not. It's not
no.
far from the truth.
No, like, yeah, I know.
VFX gets farmed off. Like, it's just a conveyor belt of like fixing.
Yeah,
it's not, like I said, it's all thankless. Like a lot of it's like, yeah, just like, or like doing the White House. So we've got like, I don't know, a bit of the White House.
You build that little section, and they built the rest of it.
Left and right, and then he's gonna put the bandstand and everything. Yeah, yeah, he was amazing.
Yeah, they did do a great job. I mean, I thought it was pretty seamless in what they did with set extensions and everything.
How much TV stuff do we have? Like, I mean, that was the other thing. Like, we were like purposely making up little LED like display, like basically stuff that we can glue, like just like or you know, like attach onto the front of the TVs to give light. Because I was like,
yeah,
to me, like 2/3 of the storytelling was like
people watching TV.
Everyone's fucking watching TV in that show. And I'm like, we can't watch TV without any light emitting. So what do we do? And obviously they're going to like replace the TV with the TV image. So I was like, let's make a little light box.
Yeah, that was good. And then your lampshade trick is really good to get it out of people's glasses so that you don't have a glass. You have a lampshade.
So if
he puts a little lampshade. He puts a light on a lampshade and has like a little
TV show where the lead one of the lead actors wears really big fucking
glasses.
Glasses. I'm just going through it right now. I mean, I just made a show called Candy, and the lead Candy
she has got big glasses,
fishbowl glasses, and you can't even move. You either let go and just go with it and say screw it. I'm just going to show a movie light in every shot. But I was like, you can't do that. Like, so we ended up like with Linda, we had a light system which would be kind of mobile, so we could just move it just off the reflection line, but just enough to get light in her eyes. Right. So it was but honestly, if you move it 1 inch down, like it's like there's a light shot.
Yeah.
And then after a while, you ended up like the telltale signs of reflections is the grids on the front of the lights. So if you see like a checkerboard effect, it just looks like a light. So what we ended up doing was we would take them off and have like a cone around the light, so it would like not spill, but it would be a hot ball of light. So it could look like a window or.
Yeah, you had some cool tricks. You definitely did.
I think Jeff Chin, I should credit though. I mean, he's like those guys were like building. We had the eyeball, right? The eyeball was amazing, right? You know this eyeball? So the eyeball was like this amazing like LED sphere, right, on the end of a paint. What do you call it? A paint
stick.
A painter's pole.
Yeah.
And we used it everywhere. I think I used it like even on a stand everywhere. So it was like an eye light. So basically, like some of the actors would start to like ask about the eyeball, because the eyeball is a vanity light, right? It's a vanity light. Like you can put it right close to somebody and they look great. It's very soft.
Vanity, yeah.
And you know, Beanie and everyone. I mean, Linda, she's so kind of gnarly as a, you know, she's got all this kind of like prosthetics.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like she wasn't either. Anyway, but there was always funny times on set where we would do another shot and literally out of paranoia sometimes, Beanie would be like, where's the eyeball? Why? And then there was a time when she said, it's a joke, but she said, why aren't I getting the eyeball today? And my answer would always be, because you look beautiful as you are.
Yeah, you don't need an eyeball today.
You don't need it. The craggy old auntie needs it every shot. Like,
needs it.
But, yeah, the eyeball, which now sells it sells for $4,000. That light.
What you made up? Is that your side hustle?
I contacted Matt at Lightspeed, and I wanted to use one on the show I've just
Oh,
about
so
to
they
do.
made they made one.
No, well, he
Ish.
said to me, "Yeah, I can get to you, but it's $4,000." I was like, $4,000.
Yeah.
I, I, I sort of helped create the concept of it. Like you want to, you just give it to me.
Yeah. Can I
So
just have one?
it's like I've got like a 3D printer. Like I'm like, I don't know how much money he makes of it. Anyway, so we made an Atlanta version of it. It cost $120. We got something from eBay or Amazon. It was like this plastic sphere and a little light bulb, LED light bulb inside, and a transmitter, and that was it.
Nice. See that? You're saving on your budget already. There you go. Are you watching anything that you really like?
Oh yeah, so I was going to tell you about this. So I'm not watching a ton of like general TV. I don't know. I'm so busy grading and stuff. But the other day, and I want to say this because it was so amazing. So I'm a big Robbie Mueller fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Robbie Mueller is a DP that, well, Robbie is Robbie. He does his own thing. He was a very prolific film cinematographer in the 70s and 80s. He worked with Vin Wenders, Jim Jarmusch. He shot some of the, he shot Paris, Texas.
Oh, no.
Anyway, so there's a documentary called, there's basically a book that he's got like his Polaroids.
Oh,
and,
nice.
I love Polaroids work because Polaroids are like, in fact, I've got a Polaroid camera just is that you can, like, it's old school. You can meter a room by a Polaroid. So you can take a Polaroid, and Polaroid is probably like, it's very low on the ISO. Like
Right.
It's probably equivalent to like a low fine film stock. And 2001, Kubrick would expose the set with Polaroids.
Oh.
So he took thousands of still Polaroids. Anyway, so Robbie Muller's got this beautiful book that I've seen online, and I'm trying to buy it, and it's discontinued or something. Anyway, I'm kind of Googling, and suddenly there's this Living the Light, which is a documentary about his work. And it's like 3 years old, but you have to see it. It's so the first shot of the documentary is a camcorder shot, very low res, and it's of this lake and a sun, and they're holding on this shot, and I'm like, what? And a finger comes in and blots the sun out, right? And then his finger starts moving, and he creates this like weird pattern, which kind of sums up Robbie Mueller, because he was like an amazing he was a naturalist, like not a nudist, naturalist.
Right.
But he was one of those cinematographers. But A, he did his own thing, but B, he always worked on natural light a lot, and was like a master. He shot that movie Dead Man. You remember the black and white movie
with Johnny Depp?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like amazing.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the last thing I watched. Like, he's a Dutch. There was so many. What he did was, he loved cinematography with a passion, so much that he had a family, but he always said that filmmaking is like being in a circus and going on tour. And he loved hotel rooms, and he loved like always being in a different place every day. And so he had this camcorder that he had this little mantra where he would film himself in the mirror, like kind of like almost sometimes peek out and look at himself, and then he'd pan off, and then he'd find the most amazing reflection of light in the room, of like a fan or water. Or there was an amazing video he did of this woman sat on a balcony with like waves crashing up. So he basically shot hours and hours and hours of camcorder stuff, but as an inspiration for his work, because his work is really natural. Like, if you've seen Paris, Texas, it's so beautiful, and also so human. Like, he was a real good individual. Like, if you like, there's a lot of God. I mean, I liked, obviously, like
is he alive?
No, he died.
He died.
But like, he had a good life. He was nearly 80 when he passed. But he was just inspirational, because like he did his thing, and like, if you can, I think I think the challenge of any cinematographer is having your own freaking voice. Like
Mm.
if you can have it rather than copying another voice, or because nowadays it's so easy to copy. Like you can like it's not even like it's not even saying like DPs are French or German. Like you can just copy anyone,
Yeah.
and it's so cheap and
I was
But if
watching
you've
this.
got your own voice, like that's great. I'm a fan. Like, have you seen the film Birth?
No. Oh,
Uh,
no, but I know what you're talking about.
The Jonathan Glazer who did Under the Skin
Yeah.
and Sexy Beast,
Yeah.
which is
The Sexy Beast I love.
sick.
But
I got everyone on the last shoot watching Sexy Beast. It wasn't even a reference for the TV show. I just got them watching
everyone,
it.
why hadn't they seen it? That's even weirder.
But that's what I was like. I was like, I'm offended.
Yeah.
Anyway, that, and I'll try to get to a point about this because it's really fascinating to do with like really consolidated coverage. Is there's a scene in this opera house, and Nicole Kidman's character is sitting in the audience, and this is again, it's all about like your memory of a movie, right?
Yeah.
My memory of the movie was you didn't see anything but a close up of her face, and everything is off camera. Like the operatic singing, and I even thinking maybe there's a slow zoom into her slowly over the whole thing, and it holds for like a really uncomfortable long time.
Yeah.
But I think that's great. Like
Yeah.
challenge people. Like why do you need to like fast cut to something and all that? Anyway, it's got me to this story that I want to tell you, and I can't remember what the movie was, and I could have totally dreamt this up, but whenever I get into a table scene with like 8 characters or 10 characters or 12 characters, right? And the director freaks out because they're like, "We've got one day to shoot this.
Right.
I mean, how many cameras we got?
Yeah.
And we've got to do so many things." So there's a movie I can't, and I maybe like I said, I'm probably imagining it. Anyway, if you're at the head of the table, and the person that is the most important is at the end of the table, and you have like 2 rows of I don't know 6 people, and there's lots of shit going on. There's dialogue flying out everywhere, but the shot just holds right,
Right.
and it just slowly zooms in to the person that is the most important in the scene. There's no cuts. It just slowly zooms in, and it ends up in close up, and that's it. It just cuts out, and I keep referencing this, whatever this is, this movie, because I'm like, why does it have to be coverage? Like, why? What's the most important thing you have to see in this scene? Because what you're going to do is you have to put faith in the fact that the audience will listen to all the dialogue that's off camera. In fact, I always find if stuff's off camera, you listen to it more.
Yeah.
If you hold on someone's face, and I think a lot of more filmmakers are getting brave on this. If you hold on someone's face and hear everything off camera,
Yeah.
you digest much more than you would on cuts. Because if you think about it, the cutting pattern of editing is there's at least a frame of your mind that's cutting. So you're kind of cutting, and
Yeah.
it's not jarring, but you're digesting what you're cutting to. Whereas if you just watch it like one shot of somebody at a table and like 20 people talking, I think you'll get the story across. And I think, not every scene's going to be written like that. You have to almost make it be written in that way.
Well,
But
you're
I
diverting.
always like use that example as like a great example of like really like saying, what the fuck? It's like saying
you're visually diverting the attention to this person's
Well,
reaction
you're
of what's going on.
focusing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're both, I guess.
Yeah.
Depends on what you want to do. But here's the thing: it's the same thing as that. Why I talk to people about, oh my god, this long, like 20-year argument about digital versus film, and everyone's like, and my argument is it's nothing about what the film looks like and what digital looks like film. There's nothing. If you understand if you've shot on film, you'll understand the discipline of film. It's not even it's a physical thing. Like if I gave a director, so say it's the night before a shoot and the director's up in his hotel room, I would come up with like 4 rolls of film and just dump it on his table and say, that's tomorrow. or I could give him a hard drive and say, you can shoot as long as you want.
Yeah.
And I guarantee that director would not go to the bar or the restaurant or go and see friends. They would focus on what the hell they have to shoot. And then their brain, I actually think it's a chemical reaction. Their brain will create something much more visceral and interesting and focused than like going for a piss up and like going with their friends to a party and then like, oh no, it's fine, tomorrow it's fine, we've got 3 cameras. Do you know
Right.
what I mean?
Right. With the safety
The
aspect of it.
unspoken rule of film is not about film look, it's about film discipline.
It's a discipline, and people have to do their homework.
Well, that's the thing.
The director has to do their homework.
Yeah. Well, I think that, I mean, you said earlier about something about this, but I think the only downside to current TV, which is very exciting, is the lack of discipline. Like,
Yeah.
I think it really is. Like, I'm not dissing anyone. I'm just saying that you really need to freaking do your homework. Like, there's so much, it's like expected that you could just walk in and make it up
Yeah.
as you go along.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. But, you know, but if you make it up as you go along and you're doing it in a very disciplined way, that's fine. I'm not knocking that process, but I'm just saying it's like the approach to filmmaking is much more focused in somebody's head. I mean, to be honest, like giving somebody a deadline or full rolls of film, which is a creative deadline,
Yeah.
that's not a bad thing. Like,
No. No.
like they go, that's impossible. How can I, you know what I mean? These days, literally, if I give them full rolls of film, they'd be like, that's impossible. I'm like, well, this movie did it, and this movie did it. You know what I mean? Like, people did it, like, and they had to freaking think about it.
When you have to edit yourself, you have to edit your choices. You have to be specific. Yeah. It can't be, you know, when they say to a prop person, "Hey, just bring them all, and we'll choose them." I'm always like, "Oh, I'm so glad I don't do props. Just bring all 5. Just, you know, we'll have both." When they tell a prop person to have both, that's so much time.
We're just gonna like figure out tomorrow. Like, what the fuck? Like, I mean, one of the episodes on the new show I did, Ben Seminoff, who is a great dude, and he comes from a camera operating background, and first thing he came out of his mouth was like, "I don't do coverage in the basically, like, he was the camera operator on Ozark and a lot of great shows, right? So he's been taught really great way of doing scenes." And he's like, I don't really do coverage in the classic way. And I'm like, oh my God, I was like, hallelujah. Like, he said, if you want to do 7 shots, I'll do like 3. I'm like, but I'll do 3.
Yeah.
I'll focus on 3 really good shots.
Yeah, that you can use. You know,
that you can use.
Yeah.
And doesn't bind anyone, but also helps me because it's like the lighting's better, the coverage is better, the angles are better, the motion's better, everything's better. And he was like, great. I'm not saying that everyone else wasn't doing that kind of thing, but I remember that.
No, it's refreshing. It's nice.
He wasn't troubled by that notion of like,
yeah,
I'm gonna do it like this. And like, you know, I did a TV show called Ripper Street, and Kieran Hawkes, great director, like really good friend, and I remember we were shooting in Dublin. And the night before, we went out and got really drunk on Guinness. We were like talking about movies and like what we loved. And then the next morning, we went into the studio and we had to face like the producer, who was lovely guy. But basically, it was like going to see the headmaster. So he brought us into the office, and he was like, honestly, it was like, he had the big ruler. He was going to whack us. No, basically, he was like telling us what he likes and dislikes in both direction and camera and cinematography. One of them was like, I want to see both eyes. And then the other one was, my granny's going to probably see this, so don't go too dark. You know, it's all these little ploys that people, but this was a few years ago, right?
Right.
My point is that me and Kieran, the director, we kind of like, we made such a bond the night before because we knew that we were kind of like, we were connecting. We walked out of the office and I just looked at him and we were like, just laughed. We just like basically just forgot every single rule. that the headmaster was trying to teach us, and he said, I want to shoot this with one camera. I don't care what anyone says. And we did. We shot it with one camera, and it was like, and I called it, you're going to hate this, but I called it the Barry Lyndon episode. Because it was one episode. Anyway, I'm probably going to have to go soon.
No, yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
You got like talking to Barry Lyndon, you got like a.
I know. This is like, I got like 3 episodes here. This is, I can't edit any of this. You're gold.
Well, make sure I get like.
I really owe Simon a pint or 2 because we talked for like 3 hours on this. And I think I had to stop twice for like a potty break, and then the twins wouldn't fall asleep. So yeah, we just kept talking, and it was fantastic. I hope you enjoyed that. I mean, he finally said, okay, I gotta go to bed. So I'm really thankful that he gave me his time. Such a talent, such a nice guy. I'm sure you can tell by just listening to him. Very approachable. I really felt like it was a collaboration with him, and as we talked about, like testing the lights, and you learn all the time on projects, and I really learned with this project the real significance and importance of a shade when it's going to be in the scene, like at all times, like shades and lighting and everything. Like, I mean, I think about it all the time, but this was just, an asterisk of importance to me in selections. So I'm really thankful that he was able to talk about that with me. He's the first DP I've had on, and I feel like I had so many questions for him that I didn't even get to. He has such a great knowledge of cinema, which I do think is really important in communicating with people sometimes. And it's like he said, you might not be able to verbally say things, but if you can visually pick out an example and show someone, and so that everyone is on the same page, it's invaluable. So I always do think that history of film and television does come in handy. It doesn't hurt to be a film dork in this business. So yeah, I'm one. I'm proud of it. I'm good. Next week, I have set decorator William DeBazio, who you are gonna love. This guy has so many insider Hollywood secrets about the shows that he has worked on, like Alias, Pretty Little Liars. He's currently on The Rookie. He's got secrets about the WB lot, about the Disney lot. I was just in awe talking to him. I had such a good time. He really should write a book. He's great. It's a fun interview, so that's next week. I hope you got an earful. I'm Kim Wanup for Decorating Pages. It's already May, and there is free shipping just in time for the Memorial Holiday weekend. Stogie Floaty Luxury Pole Float available on Etsy, and use your promo code FLOATFREE on stogiefloaty.com.